We just witnessed the latest rush of flagship releases from Samsung, LG, Apple, and more, and previously announced devices like the Essential phone have finally started making the way to consumers. Unlike a few years ago, however, it's not a clear-cut spring and fall announcement cycle anymore, and we still have quite a few new and upcoming Android phones to look forward to as 2017 draws to a close. So without further ado, let's take a look at some of the most interesting new and upcoming Android phones heading our way in the hopefully not too distant future. New Android smartphones. In the first half of this post, we talk about the new Android phones that have either been formally announced or have been on the market for 90 days or less. In the second part, we turn on our crystal balls and talk about phones that have yet to be confirmed, pointing out some of the biggest rumors we've been hearing so far. Samsung had a lot to make up for with the latest addition to the Galaxy Note series after the fiasco that was its predecessor. Unfortunately, the company has yet another winner on their hands with the Galaxy Note 8. Like the Samsung Galaxy S8 and Galaxy S8 Plus, the Galaxy Note 8 comes with a 6.3-inch curved Super AMOLED Infinity display with a Quad HD resolution and 18.59 aspect ratio. The display is easily one of the best features of this smartphone, and while Samsung's prowess in this department isn't particularly surprising, they continue to push it to new heights each and every time. Another aspect where Samsung never fails to impress is when it comes to the camera. The Galaxy Note 8 is the first Samsung smartphone to feature a dual camera setup, and they take advantage of all that is possible with two rear cameras available, allowing for clear and impressive bokeh shots all the time. With a beautiful design, the expected top-of-the-line specifications and features, the introduction of a dual-camera setup, and new software features that highlight the spend, Samsung has certainly ticked all the right boxes with the Galaxy Note 8, making it one of best Android smartphones you can currently get your hands on. Specs: 6.3-inch Super AMOLED Infinity display with 2960 by 1440 resolution, 521 pixels per inch, octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 or octa-core Samsung Exynos 8895 processor depending on region, 6GB of RAM, 64,128,256 GB of onboard storage, microSD expansion up to 256 GB, dual 12MP rear cameras, 8MP front camera, non-removable 3300 mAh battery, Android 7.1.1 Nougat 162.5 by 74.8 by 8.6 mm, 195 grams. Read more. LG V30. LG's V series has emerged as an impressive contender over the past couple of years. The LG V30 continues to further refine and add to what made its predecessors such great options. This time around, LG combines the beautiful design and display of the G6 with the best features of the V series to make for a device that many consider to be the company's true flagship. There isn't a lot that stays the same with the V30 when compared to its predecessor, with it now featuring a metal and glass construction, a near bezel-less design up front, and a new POLED display panel, along with the fact that the secondary display is not available any longer. Despite looking completely different, the V30 does retain key elements like EMI-LSDD 810G certification for impact and shock resistance, as well as an IP68 rating for dust and waterproofing. As was the case with previous generations, one of the highlights of the LG V30 is its advanced photography and videography features as well. The device comes with a dual rear camera that includes a 16MP sensor with a f1.6 aperture, along with a 13MP sensor with a wide-angle lens and a f1.9 aperture, with the latter always being a lot of fun to use. Video creators should have fun with software features like Cine Video, which allows users to quickly put in video effects, along with point zoom, which will let owners zoom into any point in a video. Audiophiles should also be happy with the LG V30, with its support for hi-fi quad DAC tuned by BoPlay. It is also the first smartphone to support MQA, which is supposed to let users stream high-res audio, but with a smaller file size and no loss in quality. LG's flagship offerings sometimes get lost in the crowd in this saturated market, but if there is one device that can and certainly deserves to break through, it is the LG V30. Specs: 6.0-inch POLED full vision display, 2880 by 1440 resolution, 538 pixels per inch, octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 4 GB of RAM, 64 V30 128 V30 plus GB of onboard storage, micro SD expansion up to 2 TB, dual 16 and 13 MP rear cameras, 5 MP front camera, non-removable, 3300 mAh battery, Android 7.1.2 Nougat, 151.7 by 75.4 by 7.3 mm, 158 grams. Read more. Essential phone. After lots of speculation followed by teasers, the man who co-created Android, Andy Rubin, officially announced his next big project, the Essential phone. The device was announced a while ago, but has finally begun going out to consumers only recently. Front and center is a gorgeous-looking edge-to-edge display, with the front-facing camera the only slight encroachment up top. The device is also built with a combination of a ceramic body and titanium frame that should prove to be quite durable, while also looking and feeling great in the hand. Finally, the Essential also boasts some modular capabilities, with accessories like the 360-degree camera and a charging dock connecting to the device via metal pins, and for those missing the headphone jack, an upcoming mod should be bringing that feature back as well. As we found in our review, the phone is gorgeous to look at and hold in the hand, and the device packs all the high-end specs that are expected from a current generation flagship. Some features may be missing, like dust and water and resistance, but as we've now found out, its $700 price tag is actually quite cheaper than the likes of the Galaxy Note 8 and the LG V30. Specs: 5.71-inch IPS LCD display with 2560 by 1312 resolution, 504 pixels per inch, 2.45 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 4 GB RAM, 128 GB built-in storage, not expandable, dual 13 MP rear cameras, f1.9 aperture, PD and laser autofocus, LED flash, 8 MP front-facing camera, 3040 mAh battery, Android 7.1 Nougat, 141.5 by 71.1 by 7.8 mm, 185 grams. Read more. Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. While there have been a few devices before it, Xiaomi can be credited with kicking off the bezel-less trend and odd display aspect ratios last year with the Mi Mix. Xiaomi recently unveiled their follow-up, the Mi Mix 2, and while there is a lot more competition in this segment now, the device doesn't fail to impress. Xiaomi addressed the issues with the alternative to the phone speaker last year by just including a phone speaker this time around, even though the top bezel remains almost as thin as the side bezels, and the front-facing camera continues to be below the display, which some people may prefer over having a notch at the top of the screen. The Mi Mix 2 comes with a beautiful metal and ceramic construction and all the high-end specs that is expected from a current generation flagship, and there is also a special edition of the phone that comes with a whopping 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of built-in storage. Of course, Xiaomi's big thing has always been their aggressive pricing, and the Mi Mix 2 is surprisingly affordable for all that it offers, with a price range of $500 to $720 in China. Granted, the price will vary as the phone makes its way to other countries, but Xiaomi will definitely continue to undercut the competition in these markets as well. Specs: 5.99-inch IPS LCD display with a 2160 by 1080 resolution, 403 pixels per inch, octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 68 GB RAM, 64,128,256 GB built-in storage, 12 MP rear camera, 5 MP front-facing camera, 3400 mAh battery, Android 7.1 Nougat, 151.8 by 75.5 by 7.7 mm, 185 grams. Read more. Hands-on with the Xiaomi Mi Mix 2. Xiaomi Mi Mix 2 pricing details revealed. Motorola Moto Z2 Force. Last year, Lenovo and Motorola introduced two flagship phones with Moto Z and Moto Z Force, but this year they've consolidated the lineup, and we only have the Z2 Force as the main 2017 flagship. The device retains the shatterproof display feature from its predecessor, but introduces key changes like a thinner body, dual cameras, new Moto Mod accessories, and availability on all US carriers. There isn't a huge change in the design of the phone to allow for compatibility with previous generation Moto Mods as well, but the phone does now come with a metal unibody construction that looks great and feels nice in the hand. The Moto Z2 Force does feature high-end specifications and features, but Moto Mods are a huge part of getting the most out of this phone. The release of the Z2 Force has also brought along some new Moto Mod accessories, with a new 360-degree camera and a gamepad that will add physical controls and buttons to your mobile gaming experience. Like all Moto Mods, these will fit Moto Z devices old and new for at least a few years, and the previous generation of Moto Mods are perfectly compatible with the Z2 Force as well. Specs: 5.5-inch POLED display with a 2560 by 1440 resolution, 535 pixels per inch octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 46GB RAM, 64,128GB built-in storage, dual 12MP rear cameras, 5MP front-facing camera, 2730 mAh battery, Android 7.1.1 Nougat, 155.8 x 76 by 6.1 mm, 143 grams. Read more. Moto Z2 Force review. Moto Z2 Force pricing details. Sony Xperia XZ1. Xperia XZ1 Compact. Sony took the rubs off of the latest flagship offerings at IFA 2017 earlier this month, and while these devices are once again iterative updates, they do offer some special features that make them not only stand out from the predecessors, but from the competition as well. The biggest feature on both devices is Sony's new Motion Eye camera, which aims to show off the company's prowess in imaging. The Motion Eye app allows you to scan your face or your full head, and it then renders both of these in 3D. From here, there are several uses, including creating custom wallpapers, an AR effect where you can put multiple of you in one picture, gaming, and 3D printing. The only major difference between the two is the display size: 5.2-inch Full HD screen for the larger XZ1, and a 4.6-inch 720p display for the compact. What may be a letdown for some though is the design. Both look very similar, but the Xperia XZ1 uses a looped surface and seamless metal body design, while the Xperia XZ1 Compact combines a metal panel with a glass-woven, plastic body. In a world of near bezel-less smartphones, the thick bezels and huge top and bottom chin are particularly glaring, but fans of Sony will appreciate the signature look. Whether the impressive camera, the fact that the Xperia XZ1 Compact is really the only option if you are looking for a small phone with high-end specs, and that these are the first smartphones to launch with Android 8.0 Oreo out of the box are enough to give Sony a hit, is something we will see as these phones make their way to consumers over the coming weeks. Specs: 5.2-inch Full HD display, 423 pixels per inch. Xperia XZ1 4.6-inch 720p display, 319 pixels per inch. XZ1 Compact octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 processor, 4GB RAM, 32GB. XZ1 Compact, 64GB. XZ1 built-in storage, 19MP rear camera, 13MP front-facing camera. XZ1 8MP front-facing shooter. XZ1 Compact, 2700 mAh battery, Android 8.0 Oreo, 148 by 73 by 7.4 mm, 156 grams. XZ1 129 by 65 by 9.3 mm, 143 grams. XZ1 Compact. Read more. Xiaomi Mi A1, a mid-range, affordable smartphone from Xiaomi, may seem a little out of place on a list that is home to all the latest flagship smartphones, but the Xiaomi Mi A1 has something special up its sleeve that definitely makes it deserving of a mention when talking about exciting phones that have recently been released. Xiaomi has done incredibly well in markets like China and India in particular, with a range of relatively affordable but premium-looking smartphones a huge success. These devices feature mid-range specifications but offer impressive performance, and a standout feature of all of them in general is the battery life. If there is one gripe with these devices, it is that the software package isn't for everybody, and Xiaomi isn't known for the timely Android updates either. The great news is that should no longer be a concern with the Xiaomi Mi A1, which features stock Android 7.1.1 Nougat on board, and should be one of the first devices to receive an official update to Android 8.0 Oreo. Apart from the software, the Mi A1 offers everything we've come to expect from Xiaomi: a beautiful full-metal unibody construction, good performance, impressive battery life, and a very reasonable price point. And this phone also comes with a dual-camera setup. Partnering with Xiaomi is definitely a great idea by Google to give the Android One program the boost that it requires. Specs: 5.5-inch IPS LCD display with 1920 by 1080 resolution, octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 625 processor, 4GB RAM, 64GB built-in storage, dual 12MP rear cameras, 5MP front-facing camera, 3080 mAh battery, Android 7.1.1 Nougat, 155.4 by 75.8 by 7.3mm, 165 grams. Read more hands-on with the Xiaomi Mi A1 upcoming Android smartphones. That is it for the new smartphones that have recently been announced to have begun to ship to customers. However, the year is far from done, and there are still a slew of upcoming Android phones to be released that we are certainly excited about. Let's take a look. Google Pixel 2. Pixel 2 XL, easily one of the most anticipated of all the upcoming Android phones on this list. The Pixel 2 and the Pixel 2 XL are all set to launch on October 4th, but a slew of rumors and leaks have resulted in there being very little mystery surrounding these smartphones. We know what they will look like, what the specifications are, and what the price point will be. Granted, these are still technically unconfirmed for now though. The smaller Pixel 2 will be manufactured by HTC, while LG is at the helm for the larger Pixel 2 XL. Both devices will feature identical internals, which are expected to be the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835, a Snapdragon 836 processor, a 4GB of RAM, up to 128GB of built-in storage, and Android 8.0 Oreo on board. While these phones will only show off Google branding, the respective manufacturer's touch will be seen in the form of an Edge Sense-like squeeze feature for the Pixel 2, and a near bezel-less design and full-vision display with an 189 aspect ratio for the Pixel 2 XL. We can also expect other flagship features that weren't available with the predecessors to make their way to these devices, like dust and water resistance. A recent leak also revealed that the Pixel 2 will be priced $649 and $749 for the 64GB and 128GB of storage versions, while the Pixel 2 XL will set you back $849 and $949 for the same storage options respectively. While there is a lot we do know about these phones, details about the camera and battery are yet to be revealed. Specs: rumored 6-inch display with Quad HD resolution Pixel 2 XL, 5-inch display with Full HD resolution Pixel 2, octa-core Qualcomm Snapdragon 835,836 processor, 4GB RAM, 64,128GB built-in storage, Android 8.0 Oreo. Huawei Mate 10 Pro. Huawei has been releasing fantastic flagship devices over the past few years, but high price points and lack of availability in key markets have resulted in some of these devices getting lost in the crowd. Huawei is hoping to change all of that with the latest high-end offerings, the Mate 10 and the Mate 10 Pro, that are all set to launch on October 16 in Munich, Germany. As the name suggests, the Mate 10 Pro will be the higher-end model of the two, and is expected to come with a 6-inch display with a Quad HD resolution and 189 aspect ratio, the Kirin 970 processor, at least 6GB of RAM, 64,128GB of built-in storage, and a 4000 mAh battery. The device is also rumored to feature 4 cameras. On the other hand, the Mate 10 is expected to launch with a full HD display, less amount of RAM and possibly lower storage as well. Again, while not as well known as the Note 8 or something similar, the Mate 10 Pro sounds like quite the beast and is easily one of the most anticipated upcoming Android phones of 2017. Specs rumored 6-inch Quad HD display, 189 aspect ratio, Kirin 970 processor, 6GB RAM, 64,128 GB built-in storage, 4000 mAh battery, dual rear cameras and dual front-facing cameras, Android 7.1 Nougat Red Hydrogen 1, as powerful as our smartphones are and as great-looking as they are getting, with near bezel-less designs and metal, glass, and ceramic constructions. Their isn't as much of a wow factor anymore, particularly for us who are a part of this world. Red, a famous cinematography camera company that you've definitely heard of if you have any interest in filming, is hoping to change all that with the first smartphone offering, the Hydrogen 1. We don't know a whole lot about this upcoming Android phone, except for the fact the prototype looks really good. The phone will be modular, and is expected to release only early next year. However, given Red's area of expertise, we can definitely expect this phone to feature an excellent camera setup on board. Even more exciting is that this phone will feature a holographic display, even if we don't have much of idea of what exactly that entails, but we are certainly looking forward to trying it out. And so, there you have it for this roundup of new and upcoming Android phones that we are excited about. Are there any devices out there that you think should be a part of this list? Let us know in the comments section below.